Hello everybody, and welcome to the July issue of the Thread and Paper Club. This video I'm going to try to make a little bit shorter than last month's. If you're a beginner, hopefully this video is helpful. If you're not a beginner, I'm going to try and put any information you may need or want to know in the beginning. So for instance, this is what you should receive in your envelope, along with a letter from me, and I think that's it. Yeah, it's just the letter that's missing from this picture. So this is the main image. By now you should have already received the PDF pattern to your email. If you haven't received that, please let me know, but you'll have the digital pattern so that you can stitch this up yourself. If you're not a stitcher and you just want this for the postcard or for the artwork's sake, then thank you very much. But if you're not a stitcher and you want to try before tackling something like this, that's what this craft is for. So we're going to put the postcard aside. You're also going to get this little note, I guess, that just has a bit of information on it. You're going to receive this pattern. Oh, obviously you're not receiving this. This is the finished item, but that's what this all makes up, is our little monkey man. These are different colors. So I have a pack of like 5 different colors for each month. So you may not get this exact color or this exact color, but it's going to be a green of some sort, something that goes with the pattern. So this is what we are aiming to stitch up right now. He is not complicated. Last month, if you were also a member of the club, you would have hopefully tackled our little crabby friend. I have them both on my fridge like this, and they look super cute, and I can't wait till next month to add another one. So I feel like it's about the same surface area. The monkey might have a little bit more of the dark brown, like more stitches, but there's not as much color changing as with our crab friend, in my opinion anyway. So I'm going to put this aside for now, just up here, but just know this is not coming in your pack, of course. It's what you're creating. You're going to have 2 pieces of cardboard. The cardboard are pre-cut. I hand cut and prep everything myself. So if something slightly doesn't fit, please feel free just to get your scissors. I tend to make things a little bigger, like this Aida, for instance, might be a little, like it might hang off the top a bit. My monkey did at the end, so I just got my scissors and I trimmed it, and then he fit in to a point where I could like center him and he's fine. Same with the cardboard. If they're a smidge too big, you can use like your own cardboard. It's just like, I just have a ton of this white stuff, but you could use a Kleenex box, any form of something that's just stiffer and cardboard. And the point of the 2 cardboards is to put it behind your stitch when you're done, to give the frame and the stitch some stability. Because we're working with a paper frame, it is obviously not that durable, but as soon as you add the cardboard in there, it really does give it extra stability. So that's what the cardboard is for. This is the paper frame, which there is no wrong way to put it together, but how I've been doing it is like this. So this medium flap, this one, down first, then the big one. The hole is just the way that it comes in the pack that I buy it in. It's annoying, I can't get rid of it, but just ignore the hole. It has no purpose. And then this is the final one. And there you go. So that's how you do it. You can then, I actually just put mine under something heavy once it's done with the stitch in it, just to get it to be sort of flat. Of course, you can use glue or tape to keep that closed, but I'd still recommend once it's dried, if you glue it, just to put it under something heavy like a stack of books for a couple hours, a day, whatever, and it'll really help keep it squished and keep it together. So that's what this is. I'm going to put that aside now. That's your frame. We went through the cardboard. I will put this on the side. This piece here with my needle on top is our canvas. So he will turn into, or I should say it will turn into the monkey. So that, you can see I've cut them a little bit bigger. So at the end, again, I'd rather it be a bit bigger and then you trim it, but never panic, just get some scissors out. If you have fabric scissors, they are of course the best. If not, just go really slow with the sharpest scissors you have, and you're only going to want to cut off, like, this should fit in here. Yeah, that fits in fine. So I can't live with that. It's down as far as it is. So I would cut off 1 row, maybe 2, but you don't want to cut off too much. So I will just cut off 1, and then it'll sit in there quite nice. So this is the goal of what we're making. Now, to start something like this, I'm going to show you, or tell you and show you, the process that I personally use. So if this is our canvas, if you will, our working space, I know that if I find the center of this and I find the center of the pattern and I start in that area, I know I'm going to have the whole thing centered. There's nothing worse than just, okay, I want to start at the bottom or the top or pick a spot, the tail, and then guessing where that is, and then your whole thing is shifted and then it's not going to fit in the frame, or you're going to run out of space. So for any stitch, not just these DIYs, I always find the center of my workspace and find the center of the pattern. And even if you just do, so like for this one, the center of the pattern is going to be the dark brown with the monkey. I would probably just start right below it with this light brown and do this light brown, and then I can work on that. I feel like if you just start with the dark brown, that's totally fine. That's doable, but it's just everyone's brain is different. There's no right way is what I'm getting at. I just kind of go for the nearest easy section to start with. That way, if I only have a few minutes to kind of start this before I'm going on a car ride or before I'm going outside camping, backyard hangout, and I want something to work on for an hour while I'm there, as if I start my project and get this part done before I'm distracted and talking to somebody or in the car, etc., it's a lot easier just to pick that up and look at where those 3 or 5 stitches are that I started, and then I can go to town. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So these items are in the kit. As I mentioned, we have the threads here. These are our threads, and I went over this in the last video, but we'll address it now in case someone wasn't a member last month or they didn't watch last month's video. This is letter mail. So I am not mailing out something with tracking or in a box of any kind. And with letter mail, you're trying to keep it as discreet and thin and light as possible so that it doesn't go over or become too thick. So the threads are the only thing that become sort of problematic. And I was able to get them in last month by doing this. And then they're just squished at the top of the envelope. So I can't have how they come is like this. This is a skein of thread for those that are beginners. I use DMC brand exclusively, and this number here is your thread color. So I am just prepping this into this form for you because I can't fit, also the cost wise, like I couldn't, that would be like a full-blown kit that you would buy from somebody. This is meant to be like a fun little craft slash art piece that you're either learning stitching or you're an expert and you want it to go with the main stitch if you're going to stitch that up. So I can't put this in the envelope and have it still be letter mail. Therefore, I can't let you know what color all of these 5 choices are. So when I'm making these little projects, I'm trying to pick colors from the main pattern, of course. So all of these colors are in this. I'm not picking completely different ones. These are all in here. So in this pattern, there's X amount of colors. I can't remember right now. I think it's probably like 10. Out of those 10, I've picked 5. And I'm trying to pick them so that they're easy to differentiate. So we have a dark brown and a light brown and 3 greens. So there's the dark brown right here. Actually, I'll do it on the back so it's super white. Here's the light brown. Oops, little greenie wanted to come. Dark brown, light brown. And then for the top part and all the greenery, there is really not as much thread as the browns, but there are 3 different types of greens. And again, I tried to make them stand out. So we have a darker green, a teal green, and like a lime light green. I'm going to call that the light green, aqua green, and regular green or dark green. It's the darkest green. It doesn't mean it's super dark. So in your little bundles, you will see the darkest green, an aqua green, and this lime light green. So when you have them in person, these are your 5 colors. You'll notice on the pattern that you get, there are no color coding like you'd normally get within a pattern. And again, that is because it doesn't even help you out because you don't know what colors these are necessarily. So you're going to use this image and this image. It's the same thing. This one's just used only colors. This one has colors and symbols. So if you're a little confused looking at something like, this green right here, is it the same as this green? That's when you can reference this pattern and see, ah, yes, it has the diamonds in it. This has the diamonds in it. This is all the same green. I personally use this kind of pattern when I'm stitching, because when something is as intricate as this, colors alone aren't going to cut it. So I do reference the color pattern while stitching, but this is the one I truly clutch. I clutch onto this one, because if I lose this, I'm screwed. So today I will be using this one at the start, because the monkey again is only a light green, I'm sorry, a light brown and a dark brown. Whereas up here it gets a little bit trickier with like, where are the browns, where's the dark green, etc., etc. So that's when I'll use this pattern. You don't have to use both. I just include both because, again, everybody's brains work differently, and I want everyone to be able to do this and understand. So after that little intro, I'm going to readjust the camera now, and we're going to start stitching. Okay, so I've readjusted. I'm all set. This is all we need to accomplish this. This again is just the example, but I'm leaving it here as a reference. And again, to starting off is hard for a lot of people, whether you're a beginner or an experienced stitcher. And not everybody knows this. It's not the only way to do it. It's just how I do it, and I find it is so helpful. So you can use a ruler if you wanted to find the exact center. You really don't have to be that precise. And with something so small, you can easily just like fold it and sort of pinch where the middle is. Like I'm eyeballing it here. Again, you can measure if you want, but then when I unfold it, I can just use my eyeball to roughly guess that looks centered enough to me. This is a heat erasable pen. So Pilot friction pens are amazing, and they erase with heat. I don't know if that's focusing, sorry. There we go. They erase when you put an iron or a blow dryer on top of them, so it's great. They do leave a bit of like a white residue behind, so if you're using white, it's not a problem. If you're using any other color, I know this is going to get stitched over, so it really doesn't matter. There's other pieces, like with the crab last month, the center, I never ironed it off. The center is between the two eyeballs. You can see my little pen mark. I gotta get him out next time I have the iron out. And that it'll go away again because this is white. If I was using a different colored Aida to do a project in general, it might leave a white mark. So just be warned that the Pilot friction pens are great, but they do sometimes leave a white residue. In this case, it doesn't matter, and the middle of the stitch is stitched over anyway, so it really doesn't matter. I'm just giving you advice. So there's the middle of my Aida cloth, of my canvas. This is our pattern, like I've said, that we are working from. For this, because there's so many markings over here already, I'm going to mark on this one. So I can see here that there's 29 and 30. So basically 30 by 30. It's totally fine if we round up to that. So I know I can go to 15 here and 15 here and move my way in, and that's the center of the stitch. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. There's 15 and 15 here. So this stitch right here is the center. You can see I made a little pour mark, but it's there. I can see it. So I know that if I stitch this stitch right here, my piece will be centered at the end, and that is always the goal. Again, even when you're using embroidery hoops and not this project, if you're using a Q-snap frame and then framing it, like, and you have a bigger piece of material, it might not be as important to center it. But when you're putting something in a hoop at the end and you're working in that hoop and you don't want to move it around, like I always paint my hoops and I never want to take the material out and then center it again, because sometimes, here's one right in front of me, sometimes, so this is unrelated, sometimes when you take this out, it leaves some of this black paint, because I hand paint the frames, and I don't want that. I don't want black marks on the white, of course. So I find the center, and then I start there, and then I work outwards from there, or I work in any direction that I want from there, and then I know I don't have to take it out of the hoop. So again, this maybe is just me because I hand paint the hoops, and they're usually dark. And yeah, if you're not using a painted hoop, or you're putting it in a frame after and you have all this extra material and you're using a bigger hoop, totally fine. You do you. But if you're keeping it in the same thing at the end, or space is limited, I recommend this method. So because the brown is a little intimidating, I'm going to start with the light brown. So basically what I'm going to do is see that right below the center mark, if I go not that one, not the one below it, but the one below that, I can start with this light brown section. If you are new and you're like, what are you talking about? Hopefully this visual helps you out. As with the last video, I briefly go over a few things in case, again, this is their first project. However, I have a lot of beginner videos on my channel. So please, when it comes to like threading your needle or tying off in the back, just watch any YouTube videos. It doesn't have to be mine, because right now this video is already going to be long enough and I don't want to keep you here all day. So essentially, to recap, I won't do this for every stage, and I'm going to stitch most of this dark brown off camera and some of the other parts off camera. I will speed up some in a time lapse just so that you're prepared for that. But right now I will absolutely do this first section with you one by one, and then from there I'll kind of cut in and out. So this center, I'm going to go skip that one, skip the center one, I'm going to skip the one below it, and I'm going to start on the one below that, and I know that that's this stitch, and I'm going to go and do these 4. So I skip this one. Sorry, the camera, I'm working over here. I should really move my camera. Skip this one, and I'm working here. Now, when you're doing cross stitches, there's different ways. Like, it sounds crazy because it's just a cross stitch. I need to move these. But there are different ways to do it. I do it where I go one way, like this. So that one was 4 across. So I go one way like this. And then I go back. With cross stitch, at the end of the stitch, if this is your first one, like, just don't even worry. But I'd like you to know, as you progress, at the end of the day, you want all the stitches going the same way. So you want all of your final X parts to go the same direction. Instead of having them flip-flop all over, it really just helps keep it look really clean and unified. And when it shines in the light, like in person, you can see like some of the colors have like a bit of a shimmer to them. It helps when it's all going the same direction instead of mishmashy. So hopefully you can see there that all of my stitches on the top are all going this way. They're going up. So that's the goal. Again, if this is your first project, don't stress about that. I'm just giving you that little tidbit. So there's our first row done. And on the second row, I'll show you the other way to do a cross stitch. So that's this row. So now I'm going to do the exact same thing below it, but add one more on the right side here. That's easy enough to remember. So the other way to do it is to stitch up and in and complete the X or the stitch, the cross, whatever, on that stitch. So I'm not going all one way and then all the other way. I'm doing complete stitches right on the spot. I personally do not like this method. I find that I can be faster the other way. Honestly, they're probably the same. It's just what I'm used to. And again, everyone has their preference. Also, if this is your first project, just know that normally you're holding a hoop or something a lot bigger and it isn't so like condensed and squishy. This is a smaller little thing. I would love to have shipped out hoops for everybody, like in this one, like a small little hoop. It would still be too small for that, but you know what I mean? I would make the design a bit bigger. That would be great because then you're holding onto this hoop and stitching, and it is so much easier. So if you're doing this as your first project, you're a king or a queen already, because this is not the easiest thing to do for grip. Always just be careful that you're not like jabbing your thumb, but you can't hold it all the way out here because you need some support and some structure here in the middle, like where you're stitching. And I do recommend having good lighting always for stitching. And if you're using white, like using a white background, this might not be the best idea. So when I have the pattern under there, you can see it moving around. And that's what I'm kind of using, is this dark pattern, the way that I'm looking at it from behind the camera. The dark pattern is helping me see the holes when I poke it through. So putting something dark on your surface, if you're working with white, like a blanket or darker pants or whatever, something on your table, if you're working on a surface like this. I don't normally stitch at a table. I stitch all hunched back on the couch or on my bed. So I never really have like white underneath. But if you have something colored, it really does help see what you're doing. So that's doing it complete stitches. The rest of this I'm going to do my way, which is just one way and then one way. So this one, now we're going to come in one. So we're losing that top left one and starting on the next one over, and then but we're still going to the end of that row right above. So there's 4 stitches altogether. If my voice excuse me, if my voice goes a little weird, I apologize. I was sick for 2 weeks. It is July 1st today, recording this. I was sick from the middle of July through to the other day on Friday. It would not go. I kept having these spurts of I feel a bit better and like thinking that I was on the mend, and then all of a sudden it would just crash. It was awful. I don't know what I had. It was a bad bug. It was COVID. It was something. And then I got an eye infection and I was like, are you kidding me? So my throat is still a little sore just from all the coughing, and obviously I'm a talker, so poor thing doesn't get a break ever. Go. And now if you're keeping up with me, you're already on your 3rd row, which is great. We're almost done this like tummy section. So the 4th row, again, we're going to start, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. We're going to start 1 in and go 1 out. So still 4 across, but we're just shifting over. So we're shifting over 1. Also, side note, I am so lucky. I have a studio. When my fiance and I bought our house 3 years ago, we are not having children by choice. So we have a 3-bedroom home, and that meant I know in the future we're not going to need that for a nursery or a bedroom. And Sean was so sweet. He was totally fine with me having the 3rd bedroom as a studio. I had dreamt of that. I was working and running my business at the start. This is my 11th year having my business. And for the first 8, I was working off my bed in my bedroom at my parents' house. And I had all of my normal stuff plus my studio stuff, all very organized. And like I had 5 Billy bookcases in my room just to take advantage and build up with height. But oh my gosh, I have this studio and I'm so blessed. But the window is high up and I really don't have the best lighting to record. So I gotta I have lights. I have to set them up for these videos. Hopefully this isn't too dark. That's what I'm getting at. Okay, so the 5th row now, we're going to go over 1 and then cut it with this one. So there's only 3 stitches on that last bit of the tummy. But having a studio, oh my gosh, it's so nice. And like it's usually really tidy, but I have my mail club, clearly. And around the end of the month, it gets a little chaotic in here because I'm, again, a one-woman show and I'm prepping all the envelopes and all of the, like making these and cutting the thread and cutting the cardboard to size, cutting all the paper, cutting the Aida. There's a lot of cutting and a lot of prepping, and then addressing the envelopes, which I've been doing by hand last month and this month. And if this continues to grow, I might have to have them typed out. But for now, I feel like it's a bit more snail maily if I do it by hand, so I'm trying. When you don't write anymore, like I'm like, how did I used to write essays? Like my hand cramps up very easily because I'm not using those muscles like I used to. Okay, so that's done. So this whole middle light stomach part of the monkey is complete. So in this case, now I can tie it off and continue wherever I want. Again, I'm doing this the way that my brain works. I want to start on this face so that I know most of this light brown is done. The only light brown that's left after is here, like the hands, the fingers, and the toes. I added one light piece, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna do this part, the face, and normally I would say like let's tie this off and then you're done with that color, like by tying a knot in the back. But I'm just gonna like drag it right on up to the top because this is all gonna be covered with dark. You're not gonna see the thread. Like you normally want to cut off because you can see that thread in the background, and like if you have your stitch in a frame, like you're gonna see that line. But again, between here and here, it's going to be all stitched up, so it's totally fine. But you can always cut it off and just start fresh. Totally fine. I should not have taken my needle out, but that's okay. So to find where you're going to start the next section, I can work off the little middle of the Aida, middle of the pattern mark that I made, or you can just now ignore that and work off of the actual stitched part. So I'm going to go off the stitched part, and I'm choosing to follow this. So the top left corner is this section right here, and you're going to ignore, and then stitch. So we're going to skip 1, skip 2, and stitch on the third, and then I know we're going 1, 2, 3, 3 to the left. So I'm going to make sure I'm centered there. Skip 1, skip 1. So I'm starting right here, 1 row above that middle line that I made. Your line, your dot might be different if you choose to do it, because again, I was just eyeballing that. 1, 2, 3, and then back. 1, 2, and 3. So now we have successfully started the second section of the light brown, and we're going to do the rest of this face. I'm going to do it with a time lapse, but again, just to say it out loud, what we're going to do now is we've done this row, so we're going to do the exact same thing above that row. We're going to do the same thing but add 1 on each side and then go back to the original shape of just 3 across. So I'm going to now speed that up. Okay, last stitch, there we go. So now all of the major light brown parts are completed. You can see here, there's the face and the stomach. It doesn't look like that right now without the pattern, but we know what that is. So now I'm done with this for now. I need this last bit. I am giving X amount of thread for each person. That's why I do this video, is to, of course, walk people through it and have a tutorial, but it's also to make sure that the length of thread that I've cut is enough, because that's what I use as like a template for everybody's like little bundles. So when I'm doing this, I'm also seeing if I've cut enough thread. I write down like how long it was before I started. So you're going to tie a knot on the back. And again, if you don't know how to do that, just watch a different video on how to just tie off, but it's literally a knot that you drag down and give her a snip. Snip as close to it as you can without cutting the knot. Like you can have like a little bit of a bit of tuft coming up, totally fine, but you don't want to have like an inch of thread. It will get in the way, guaranteed. But we're going to keep this section because we need it for the 4 little toes and fingertips. Oops. So I'm putting that up there. Do not want to throw it out. It looks like so throw outable. Like I would totally usually throw that away because I'm done, but nope, do not throw it away, Andrea. So now we're going to tackle the dark brown. Once the dark brown is done, honestly, there isn't a ton of green. It's more about like counting to get it in the right spot. And if you don't get it in the right spot, it doesn't matter because they're just leaves. Like it's nature. You can do whatever you want. I'm not giving as much thread for the green, of course, like I said, because it's not as needed. Whereas this medium brown is the second most used. The dark brown there is a lot more of because it is the main color. So we're going to just get that out of the way. I'm going to start on camera and then I might do a chunk off camera because when I'm stitching, when I'm doing these tutorials, I'm working around a tripod and like I can't lean in and look like I normally do. Like I said, I like to be all hunched and like stitch like right into my chest. So doing this slows me down. It is like 45 degrees out here, Celsius, not Fahrenheit today. So my studio is very warm despite having AC on. So I'm going to do this and then just go cool down in front of a fan and stitch the majority of the brown. So the brown piece I'm giving is rather long. If you want to use and cut it in half, that might be advisable. I think I'm going to do that because this can get tangled. The longer your thread, the more easy it can get tangled. Normally, I wouldn't cut a thread in half because I feel like at the end of the day, you potentially waste a little bit more because right now I'm wasting a bit more by tying it off multiple times. But again, I'd rather that than have like a huge knot and get frustrated and waste thread that way. So, oops, that's not my garbage pile. I need some caffeine. My brain's a bit spazzy with this heat. So again, I just cut my long brown in half, makes it a little more manageable, but you don't have to. So to start this, I'm looking at this logically thinking, you know what? We already have the light brown as reference points, so let's work with that. And I can see here, this right here and here looks good. So I'm going to start here, do the head, and work my way up. I will do this section on camera, and then the rest of it I might do off camera, and I'll come back when I'm at the tail. So on the light brown face, I'm going right below it too. So right here. It's so funny how they look like this, like just blobs, and then all of a sudden at one point it starts to come together, no matter what you're stitching. It's like the magic of cross stitch. You should imagine when you're designing them. Stitching, it's one thing, but you're like, is this even going to work? And then you see it on the computer, on your program like this at the end, and you're like, oh, okay, it did work. So that's those two done. And now I'm going to go up to this ear and just go to the left of it and count up 2 and over 1. So I'm kind of wrapping around it. So that's this part, this light bit right here is the ear. And I said I'm going up 1, up 2, and over to the right 1. So basically just wrapping around this light brown part of the face. Okay. And please never judge or compare your stitching speed to mine or to anybody's. I never do. You just do you. It doesn't matter if this takes you 8 times as long. You do it half as quick as me. Like, there is no rush. There is no comparison. I just say that because like this is literally my job. So I stitch a lot, and I've stitched for a decade, and I have the bad eyesight and the neck hump to prove it. So I might stitch a little faster than you. I am not the fastest person in the world, but if you're a beginner, do not compare to anybody ever for anything. We know that, but I just thought I'd give a friendly reminder because I may be going a little faster than you would. But you can pause the video. That's why I go a little faster. So that's this. And now we're going to go above the one we just finished and go 1. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over. So above the one I just did and go 1, 2. I can go so much faster when I'm not like sitting up and around the tripod. So that's something else. That's why I do it off camera. 3, 4, 5. You can even just do the whole section one way and go back. I can't handle that. Like, I have to finish an area and then go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The top of the monkey's head. And now we're going to come down. So it's not the same as the other side because we have like the body and because he's hanging and his arm. But I know I have to go down and over, down and over. I'm going to do those two. Also, if you have the heat erasable pen, something that you can do that I absolutely do sometimes is I use the pen to make little markings of where I have to stitch. So like right now it's one color. So I know everything inside is going to be a certain color. So like say on the large one, like if I'm doing this leaf, I can use the pen. If I'm getting tired of referencing the pattern and holding it and staring and looking down, I can use the pen to just like make markings on the outside. And then I know everything on the inside is that solid color. So that's also an option. Especially because you know it's going to be stitched over. It really doesn't matter. I can show you with this one on the arm because maybe that'll help some people in the future. Okay, so I've done the down and over and down and over. So now we're going up to the arm. So we're going to be on the row that I just was on and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I use the pen method, that's here. Sorry, I can't hold it much closer than this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it means this entire section, and it's too thick, but I don't go up to the top on the second one. I go to the one to the side. It means that these I stitch completely. So that's one way that you can also do it, is coloring them in. Some people color in the whole thing before. They use like color coordinated markers and stuff. I can't do that. Like I always want to make quality patterns, but I also need to just keep making patterns. So that's more when it's like a hobby and not a job, but that's totally an option. So I'm going to do this arm off camera in just a minute. I'm starting to get really sweaty in here. I got to open the door. But basically, so that you're on the same page, right now we are working on that part. So right at the top of the Aida, you can see it. That's what I'm working on, and I'll be right back with that part completed. Okay, Monkey's arm is stitched. I also had to bring a fan in the room. It is off right now, but if all of a sudden you hear what sounds like a fan, it is me. Just to try and keep cool in here. So now we're done the arm. I'm going to move down the torso to about here, and then I'm going to do this part off camera like I said. You just continue the same thing that we've been doing, which is counting over, looking at how many stitches, using parts that you've already stitched as reference points. That is key. And no matter if you're a beginner or an experienced stitcher, always make sure that you are checking your alignment throughout. Don't wait till the end to realize everything's shifted over one. If your monkey has one more stitch on the arm, it really doesn't matter. It just may not fit in here at the end of the day. Like if something is made for a specific hoop or frame, or you want it to be perfectly symmetrical like this one, and then all of a sudden you realize one monkey is a bit taller than this one, that's when it can become, of course, more noticeable and maybe problematic. It just depends on you, and like that would be problematic for me because I love everything to be as symmetrical as possible. But over here on the leopard's tail, it is absolutely not the same. I messed up and I was like, nobody's gonna know but me. And well, now you guys know because I've told you. But basically there's some that you absolutely can be fine with hiding, but the main components that are stand out, like if this one was one up to this one, you're not really gonna notice. But if something is side by side and that the dark nose spot isn't side by side, you're gonna notice that. Again, maybe not everyone would notice it, but a lot of people might, or if it bothers you, yeah, you want to stay on top of counting and referencing where you are. So right now I'm finishing up the arm, and I'm going to go down this part of the arm here and see that it aligns with the last section of the stomach. And I'm going to go down the arm here, and I can see that it aligns with the stomach. So I know so far this is the same as the pattern. I do that throughout several times, and again, it just helps stay on track. And if all of a sudden you add an extra one in here, it does not matter. It doesn't matter at all. It's just about, if I've messed this tail up and go too far, is it going to touch the body and look weird? Maybe. So there are certain points where you just want to make sure you're okay and that you're on track. That's my little tidbit there. So now we're on this section here, right underneath the ear, which is right there. And I'm going to go to the main left part of the arm, 1, 2, 3, 4 in. So 4 out from the face, and get back on track here with the body. So yes, using other parts of the pattern that are already stitched as reference points is key. And I do it all the time throughout. It kind of just becomes second nature once you've stitched enough. Same with embroidery. Like, embroidery is a little bit more, depending on the pattern, of course, but it's a little bit, it's different because there's no grid. You're not using X's, you're using different stitches, and unless the pattern, like a lot of mine, are symmetrical, if it's not symmetrical, it really doesn't matter. But cross stitch, it's a grid. So like, you only have so many stitches you can fit. So you have to be pretty precise with the pattern. So that's that row there. The one below is the same thing with one poking out on the side. So we're going to go to the end here and add one more. And also what I said about the brown and how you might want to cut it in half. Now that I'm looking at how much brown and how much I pre-cut, I might even just give two. I'll have to give two specific sizes of the dark brown. So if yours ends up not being, I clearly haven't cut all the thread. I again do this before I cut the thread. I'm cutting the thread tonight and I will know then. But if yours isn't one long piece, ignore what I said before. Maybe it might be 2 long pieces because it's a lot of brown. Everything else I think will be fine with what I've pre-cut, but this dark brown is the majority. Okay, so there's that section done. And this is essentially how I stitch. So now that we have, like, from here body wise, here down to here, now we're just gonna slowly go down. I'm not gonna do the tail till the end. So when I go across, I'm not doing those personally. I'm just focusing on the body, and I'll then branch out over here. Then I'll go back to over here, go over, do one leg, do another leg, and that's when I'm going to come back. So next time I see you in, well, a second now on the video, the whole brown body will be done, except for the tail. And then from the tail, we'll do the brown of the branch up here, and then just tackle the little leaves. I'll do one more row, and then I will do the rest off camera. And as you can see, the middle part, the little center marking that I made, is now going to be covered up. Okay, so this is right below the face. So I go to the same section here as the light. So I don't go one past, I go right there. If I wasn't stitching on camera, I would honestly probably hold the pattern like this so that I could see it, but that might make someone like motion sickness because I'm constantly doing this with my hand. So that's why I keep the pattern on the table, or I would sit cross-legged on my bed and have it propped up on my knee. Whereas right now I'm completely can't see this because I'm working on this. So you just make whatever setup works best for you so that you're not constantly moving your head left and right to look at this. Put it somewhere in eyesight so that you're not moving around unnecessarily. All right, finish this row up, and when I see you guys in a second, our monkey will have a full body and just need a tail. I will be right back. Okay, I am back, and in the 30 to 35 minutes I was gone stitching this, it got extremely dark outside and we have like a full-blown thunderstorm happening. So I've had to put my overhead light on, which is awful, and I don't have my lights all set up, and we're kind of in the home stretch, so please forgive this horrific lighting. If I have the lights off, you can't even see. So it is just pitch black outside. Yeah, it's been so hot here, like I said, that I'm not surprised that it's a thunderstorm out today. I did look at the forecast. It's going to clear up in like an hour and a half, but I need to just finish this up. So you can see here, this video might now be a little bit shorter, but you get the gist of it. So I stitched the body and I added on the light brown hands. So now that light brown thread I am done with. I'm almost done with the dark brown. I left the little, while I was stitching the body, I just went out and did this section here just so that now I can reference the tail a lot easier. And then I'm going to work my way up here to the few little brown sections. You can see here, oh my gosh, the lighting is so bad. You can see here the little squares with the hearts in it is this dark brown. So I'm going to do those by counting, and then the rest is just the green in between. I purposely do videos during the day when there's really good lighting so that I don't have to set up lights. And even setting up lights, like you can always have shadows and stuff. This is just my overhead regular main light. And because we're in the home stretch now, I don't really want to take out a bunch of lamps and lights, so I apologize. But hopefully this might cool things down, or it might make it even more humid. But I just looked up the temperature and it is, what did it say? It said it was 36 degrees Celsius. Feels like 49. I don't even know if I've ever seen that, to be honest. Sorry, I'm just stitching and yammering about how hot it is. So basically now, just like everything else, you're building off these two here and going up one, up one, up one, and then we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Straight up now. Feels like 49. That's, don't let anyone ever tell you that Canada is freezing and we live in igloos. Like, I mean, of course, the north, like the north part that is uninhabitable for the most part. Obviously, I'm not referencing that. I am in southern Ontario, so I'm in the south of Canada. So it's very comparable weather to, say, New York City or Boston. Yeah, it's really cold in the winter and really hot in the summer. We have all 4 seasons, which is beautiful. But as a summer, I despise summer. Seeing 49, okay, and for the Americans, 49 degrees Celsius is 120.2 degrees Fahrenheit. It is 120. That's what it feels like. It's actually like 100, but it feels like 120. Like, that's disgusting. It's July 1st. Oh my gosh. And then we're going to go over one. I don't know if you can hear that thunder. I left and all of a sudden the room, I went into my bedroom to stitch the body, like this part, because I have my fan in there and I have the TV going, and I was like, oh, I'll just stitch in front of the TV because this room was so warm, and it just got pitch black. I had to put my lamp on. And then 1, 2, 3, and then all of a sudden I heard the rain and thought, that's not good for recording, but it's good for the plants and for the grass. We've had like a few rain patches, but we haven't had a good dumping in like a week, and it's been so hot. So now I sound like an old person when I say, oh, the grass needs it, but literally everything needs it. The animals probably need it. So it's a good thing. And it's only like an hour or two, and then it clears up, and it's Canada Day here today. So there's fireworks and celebrations everywhere. So hopefully this doesn't put too much of a damper on all the celebrations, and it clears up in time. And then we're going to go down 1. I really enjoy doing this tail, like stitches that are just single row stitches like this, in my opinion, are very enjoyable. We've got 1, 2, 3, which is perfect, because then we've got 1 gap between the tail and the arm, which is exactly what we've got. So we know we're right on track. I keep looking at the camera and the lighting is stressing me out. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll look at the weather radar before I start recording next time. Even the last video, I had to stop halfway through because it was so gloomy that day, and I just completed the rest the next day. But I have to finish this because I have to cut the threads and get the kits out tomorrow. Tomorrow is, or the mail, oh my gosh, the letters out, the subscriptions out. Tomorrow is mail day. It's the 2nd. So I am working right down to the wire because this whole thing is very, in a good way, very time consuming. It's not like you just print something off and shove it in an envelope and call it a day. There's a lot of prep work and planning and the designing and the stitching alone, like to stitch this and then this little guy and everything. It all takes quite a lot of time. I am not complaining. I am just stating that it takes me like all month and on and off. I was sick, like I said. That didn't help. I lost like 2 weeks of productivity time, 10 days at the least. 1, 2, 3. All right. And then the final tip of the tail is just this one on an angle up. And then we are going to go for the branches. Then we're done with the browns. Okay. I'm going to tie this off. Even Sean came upstairs while I was stitching. He's like, why is this room so hot? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know why my studio is so hot today. Usually if you have like a computer going or a big screen TV, something that lets off a lot of heat, okay, sometimes that happens, but no, nothing out of the ordinary in here today. All right, so now for the branch, main branch, I'm going to go off this light brown part of the hand and count, skip 1 and start on that one and just work my way down and then work my way back there, and then that's done. Ooh, that's big thunder. So we're skipping 1 in the middle and going here. I'm going to go one direction. I'm going to go in one direction for these because then on my way back, I'm finishing them off. So this one's 2 down. And again, if these colors look confusing because they're all a bit darker, just reference these with the codes, or the symbols, I should say. It really is helpful. And then I skip 1 and I go down. Okay. And that's the end of the branch, which is great because now I can work the other way. Once I've done this, I'm going to start the greens. I will likely finish them off camera. Hopefully it clears up and is a bit brighter. I'm going to go make supper. So if all of a sudden the ending of this video is brighter, you'll understand why. But I don't know. Okay, same thing. Skip 1 on this side. And then skip 1 and go down. So I actually ended up needing the entire, like double the dark brown. So that's, again, this is why I do this, so that I don't send these subscriptions out with not enough thread. If you're making the large stitch, the leopard jungle scene, you need to buy your threads anyway, so you'd probably have some left over, but not everyone might be stitching that up. So, okay, so from here I'm going to count down 1, 2, and then go over 1, 2, and start on 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Another way to reference things is like, okay, this one that I'm stitching is right on the edge of the monkey's face. Is this one right on the edge of the monkey's face? Yes. And then you can even just count up from there. That's when I say, like, double check your work, double check your stitches. Just constantly use other markings on the pattern to reference. And it will help you in the long run. Oh my gosh, there we go. Last bit of brown here. We have just enough thread, little extra, so that's good. All right, so all the browns are completed, and now all that's left is to fill in our greens. I'm personally going to start with the darker green because the darker green, oh my gosh, that's all that's left with double. The darker green is only up, as far as I can tell, these are all the aqua and the light green because of the symbols. Yeah, the darker green is only up here on this cluster with the branch, so I'd like to just get that done with so that we only have 2 colors left. So I'll do that one on camera, and then the rest I might finish off camera. And again, when stitching these ones, like don't sweat it if it's down one or over, or you add an extra one. Like, these are just representing greenery and leaves, so it's really not that crucial to have it exact. And I'm gonna have to use this pattern to see. So it is the diamond. And now I can use the dark brown as reference points so I can see, oh my gosh, sorry. I can see here on this last piece of brown that I'm starting with the diamonds here, and then they're just sort of scattered throughout over to here. So anything with a diamond is what I'm stitching now. Okay, I'm going to just go stitch the rest off camera because the lighting is so bad. I don't even think you can tell what color I'm using. But I hope you get the gist of this, that we're just following the pattern and counting with the reference points we already have. You again can do this in any order you want. I just recommend doing the light, then the dark, and then doing the greenery. But again, you do whatever is most comfortable for you. And I hope you really enjoy stitching up this little guy, and that this video was somewhat helpful despite the lighting now. And me having to kind of cut it short a bit, but I will stitch up the rest now and come back, and if there's better lighting in like a half hour, I will do a final little peekaboo with the finished stitch. I'll be right back with that, hopefully. Okay, it is all done. I cut the top off because remember I had two little squares that were going to poke out. Again, the lighting is still bad, my apologies, but I think when it's this close up, you can see the difference between the teal, the light, and then the dark green. And he's all done. So now you're just gonna take your paper frame and your cardboard and slide them both in here. I would then take this, like I said, whether you glue this down or not, just stick it under a pile of books or a big textbook, a coffee table book, whatever, for a day, and it should just like help it stay flat. It's not really going to flatten this one much more because I already flattened this frame, but I will do that. And then I just take 2 magnets and stick it to my fridge. You can glue a magnet on the back. You can scrapbook with it, you can gift it, you can display it, you can set it up on a table, pin it to a bulletin board. You can do whatever you want with this. It's your finished little DIY, and I hope that if this was your first project, it wasn't intimidating and that it was manageable. And if you have any questions, beginner or not, please leave them in the comment section. Always feel free to message me. I love to see your work in progress. I love to see your finished pieces. So please, if you ever post anything on Instagram or any social media platforms, please tag me, my business account. If you have a private account, I cannot see it, whether you tag me or not. So just a little fun fact, I'm not ignoring you. I literally have no idea you've posted it. But you can always send me a screenshot and DM that to me. I love seeing everyone's progress. So I hope you enjoyed this and have a great summer. Thank you so much for your subscription. See you later, guys. See you next month.